You're probably doing this every single day, thinking it's great for you, especially if you're over 60, but it could be silently eroding your bones from the inside out. I'm talking about a habit that's celebrated in health magazines, recommended by well-meaning friends, and praised all over social media. You might even feel virtuous doing it. But here's the devastating truth. This healthy routine could be accelerating bone loss at a rate that puts you at serious risk for fractures, falls, and a dramatic loss of independence in your later years. This isn't about ignoring your health. It's about understanding that what works for a 30-year-old body doesn't work the same way when you're over 60. Your bones are different now. Your nutritional needs have changed. And some of the most popular health trends today are completely overlooking this critical reality. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal will challenge everything you thought you knew about staying healthy after 60. And more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly how to protect your bone density without sacrificing your overall health goals. Let me ask you something. Have you recently cut back on certain foods because you heard they weren't good for you? Maybe you've drastically reduced your protein intake because someone said too much protein is hard on your kidneys. Or perhaps you've eliminated most fats from your diet. If you're nodding along right now, you're not alone. Millions of seniors are following restrictive eating patterns that are marketed as the key to longevity, weight management, and disease prevention. And on the surface, these approaches seem perfectly reasonable. After all, we're constantly bombarded with messages about eating less, cutting calories, and eliminating entire food groups. But here's what almost nobody is telling you. When you're over 60, your body doesn't respond to dietary restriction the same way it did when you were younger. Your bones, in particular, become extraordinarily vulnerable when you start cutting out foods that contain the very nutrients they desperately need to stay strong. The habit I'm talking about is excessively restrictive dieting, specifically diets that are extremely low in protein or that eliminate healthy fats, often in the pursuit of weight loss or following trendy health advice that wasn't designed with older adults in mind. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but Dr. Kent, I'm just trying to be healthy. I'm watching my weight. I'm being careful about what I eat. And I completely understand that intention. The problem isn't that you care about your health. The problem is that the dietary advice flooding our culture right now is dangerously incomplete when it comes to protecting bone density after 60. Let me be clear, I'm not saying you should ignore heart health. What I am saying is that the way many seniors approach these goals by severely restricting protein and healthy fats is creating a silent epidemic of weakened bones that leads directly to fractures, hospitalizations, and devastating loss of mobility. So why are these restrictive diets so appealing in the first place? Because they tap into decades of health messaging that told us fat makes you fat, that eating less is always better, and that protein is only for bodybuilders. These ideas became so deeply embedded in our culture that they feel like common sense. Add to that the explosion of diet trends over the past 20 years. Juice cleanses, extreme calorie restriction, plant-based diets done incorrectly, low-fat everything. These approaches all share one thing in common. They often eliminate or dramatically reduce the very nutrients your bones need most. And here's where age makes all the difference. When you're in your 30s or 40s, your body has more resilience, your bones are still relatively dense, your hormone levels support bone formation. But after 60, everything changes. Your body's ability to absorb nutrients decreases, hormonal changes accelerate bone loss, and your margin for error becomes razor thin. This means that a restrictive diet that might have helped a younger person lose weight without major consequences can absolutely devastate bone health in someone over 60. You're not just skipping meals or cutting calories. You're depriving your skeletal system of the raw materials it needs to maintain its structure. The statistics are alarming. Studies show that older adults on severely restrictive diets, particularly those low in protein, experience significantly higher rates of bone loss compared to those eating balanced, nutrient-dense diets. And the consequences aren't abstract. We're talking about hip fractures that lead to loss of independence, spinal compression fractures that cause chronic pain, and wrist fractures from simple falls that could have been prevented. What makes this especially insidious is that bone loss happens silently. You don't feel your bones weakening. There's no pain, no obvious warning signs until one day you trip on a rug, trip, or miss a step, and suddenly you're facing a fracture that changes your life. Now let's get into the science of exactly why these restrictive diets are so damaging to your bones, because understanding the mechanism will help you make better choices going forward. Your bones are living tissue. They're constantly breaking down and rebuilding in a process called remodeling. For this process to work properly, your body needs a steady supply of specific nutrients. When you restrict your diet too severely, you create deficiencies that directly interfere with bone health in three critical ways. First, let's talk about protein. Your bones aren't just calcium. About 50% of bone volume is actually protein, specifically collagen. Collagen provides the framework, the scaffolding that calcium minerals attach to. Without adequate protein intake, your body cannot produce enough collagen. The result is bones that become brittle and porous, even if you're taking calcium supplements. Research shows that older adults need more protein than younger people, not less. The current recommendations suggest about 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily for older adults. That's significantly higher than the minimum requirements set for younger populations. Yet, many seniors on restrictive diets are consuming far less than this, sometimes half of what they actually need. When protein intake drops too low, your body enters a catabolic state where it starts breaking down muscle and bone tissue to access the amino acids it needs for vital functions. You're essentially cannibalizing your own skeleton to keep other systems running. Second, let's examine healthy fats. When you eliminate fats from your diet, you create a cascade of problems for bone health. Healthy fats are essential for the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins, particularly vitamin D and vitamin K, both of which are absolutely critical for bone health. Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium, while vitamin K activates proteins that bind calcium to bone. Without adequate dietary fat, even if you're getting enough of these vitamins, your body can't use them effectively. You end up with what looks like adequate nutrition on paper, but functional deficiencies in practice. Additionally, healthy fats support hormone production. Hormones like estrogen and testosterone play vital roles in maintaining bone density. When fat intake drops too low, hormone production can be impaired, accelerating bone loss, particularly in postmenopausal women and older men experiencing natural testosterone decline. Third, overly restrictive diets often eliminate entire food groups, leading to deficiencies in calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and other minerals essential for bone structure. When you cut out dairy because you're avoiding fat, or when you eliminate fortified foods because you're following a clean eating trend, you might be removing your primary sources of these bone-building minerals. Here's a concrete example of how this plays out. Imagine a woman in her late 60s who decides to lose weight by drastically cutting calories. She eliminates most animal products to reduce fat and cholesterol. She's consuming maybe 40 to 50 grams of protein daily, well below her needs. She's avoiding dairy and fatty fish. She's living on salads, fruit, and small portions of grains. On the surface, this might look healthy, low calories, lots of vegetables. But beneath the surface, her bones are starving. Her collagen production drops. Her vitamin D absorption plummets. Her hormone levels, already compromised by menopause, drop further. Within months, her bone density begins declining at an accelerated rate. Within a year or two, she's at significantly higher risk for fractures. And the tragic part? She thought she was doing everything right. So what's the solution? How do you protect your bones without abandoning your health goals? The answer lies in strategic, informed nutrition that prioritizes bone health alongside other wellness objectives. Let me give you a clear, actionable framework for rebuilding and protecting your bone density after 60. First, prioritize adequate protein intake from diverse sources. Aim for that 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight daily. If you weigh 70 kilograms, that's 70 to 84 grams of protein daily. This might sound like a lot if you're used to restrictive eating, but it's absolutely essential. Include a variety of protein sources: lean meats, poultry, fish, eggs, dairy products, legumes, nuts, and seeds. If you're plant-based, focus on combining protein sources to ensure you're getting all essential amino acids. Quinoa, tofu, tempeh, lentils, and chickpeas become your best friends. Don't be afraid of protein, your bones need it. Second, embrace healthy fats. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish like salmon and sardines, monounsaturated fats from olive oil, avocados, and nuts. These fats support hormone production, enhance vitamin absorption, and provide anti-inflammatory benefits that protect bone health. You don't need massive amounts. 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish weekly, a daily serving of nuts or seeds, cooking with olive oil and including avocado. A few times a week will provide what your bones need without excessive calories. Third, ensure adequate calcium and vitamin D through food first, supplements second. Dairy products are excellent sources if you tolerate them. Greek yogurt, cheese, and milk provide both calcium and protein. If you avoid dairy, focus on fortified plant milks, leafy greens, almonds, and calcium-set tofu. For vitamin D, fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified foods help, but many seniors still need supplementation, especially in winter months or if you have limited sun exposure. Work with your healthcare provider to determine your vitamin D levels and appropriate supplementation. Fourth, don't forget the supporting players. Magnesium from nuts, seeds, and whole grains. Vitamin K from leafy greens. Phosphorus from protein sources. These nutrients work synergistically to build and maintain bone, but nutrition is only part of the equation. Weight-bearing exercise is non-negotiable for bone health. Walking, strength training, dancing, hiking, anything that makes your bones work against gravity stimulates bone formation. Resistance training, in particular, has been shown to increase bone density even in older adults. You don't need to become a powerlifter. Start with bodyweight exercises, light dumbbells, or resistance bands. Consistency matters more than intensity. 3 to 4 sessions weekly of 30 minutes each can make a profound difference. Also, consider balance and flexibility work. Yoga, Tai Chi, and specific balance exercises reduce fall risk, which is just as important as building bone density. A strong bone that never fractures because you don't fall is better than a moderately dense bone that breaks in a preventable accident. Finally, lifestyle factors matter. Limit alcohol consumption, as excessive drinking interferes with calcium absorption and bone formation. If you smoke, quitting is one of the best things you can do for your bones. Smoking accelerates bone loss and impairs healing. Let me bring this all together with a clear takeaway. It's not just what you eat, but how you eat, especially after 60, that truly dictates your bone density. The healthy habit of extreme dietary restriction, particularly cutting protein and healthy fats, is sabotaging the bone health of millions of seniors who believe they're making smart choices. But now you know better. You understand that your bones have specific, non-negotiable nutritional requirements that become even more critical with age. Here's your action plan. Start by honestly assessing your current eating patterns. Are you getting enough protein? Calculate your needs based on your weight. Track your intake for a few days. You might be surprised by how much you're actually consuming versus what you need. Are you including healthy fats daily? Look at your meals. If everything is fat-free or low-fat, you've got work to do. Add in those nutrient-dense fat sources we discussed. Are you getting calcium and vitamin D from food and sun exposure, or do you need to supplement? Get your vitamin D levels checked. It's a simple blood test that provides crucial information. Next, talk to your healthcare provider, share what you've learned, discuss whether your current diet might be impacting your bone health. Ask about a bone density scan if you haven't had one recently, especially if you've been following restrictive eating patterns. If you're working with a dietitian or nutritionist, make sure they understand the specific nutritional needs of older adults for bone health. Not all nutrition professionals specialize in senior health, and the advice that works for younger clients doesn't always translate. Consider working with a physical therapist or certified trainer who specializes in senior fitness to develop a safe, effective exercise program that includes weight-bearing and resistance training. And finally, be patient with yourself. If you've been following restrictive eating patterns for months or years, changing your approach will take time. Your body needs time to respond to better nutrition. Bone remodeling is a slow process, but the changes you make today will pay dividends in mobility, independence, and quality of life for years to come. I want to hear from you. Have you been following a restrictive diet thinking it was helping your health? Have you noticed changes in your strength, balance, or energy that might be connected to your eating patterns? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to make a change. And if you found this information valuable, do me a favor. Share this video with a friend or family member over 60 who might be unknowingly sabotaging their bone health with restrictive eating. Knowledge is power, but only if we spread it. Remember, getting older doesn't mean accepting frailty. With the right nutrition, the right exercise, and the right information, you can maintain strong, healthy bones well into your 80s, 90s, and beyond. You deserve to live independently, actively, and confidently. And it starts with feeding your bones what they actually need. If you want more evidence-based health information specifically for seniors, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. I'm Dr. Michael Kent, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, stay informed, and protect those bones.